YouTube, and Miss J, we are live.
All right.
So if we just we had a couple of folks at um over at Locker Love Legacy channel, supporting us and just tuning in. So there are a couple of people who know who I am. They know what the work is that I do. It's hard to explain because it's not every day you're going to meet a lawyer that's telling you, don't go running into the court. At least not now. so just give them a few minutes to get over here. Welcome to, let me see. Let me look at TikTok real quick because I'm still not convinced that I'm live over here. Um, I think I was practice. I was doing practice comments. I'm new to TikTok. I got bacon hair. I have bacon hair and default skins on TikTok. I'm a noob. I'm trying to go live and I'm not sure if it's working. Oh, so I was in practice mode. I definitely will be getting my son involved with helping me with this stuff because the engineering, I'm not gifted in this area. Judah, can you get me live here on TikTok, please?
That's here, by the way.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm live on
Don't
YouTube.
you do that until like
You on YouTube live? So if you could get me live on TikTok and then set up the camera, I appreciate it. So let's take a look here. Thank y'all for bearing with me. I am a noob to the live streaming world, but your joining in is really an encouragement, and I appreciate you, each and every one of you. So you can't get me live? Okay, we'll figure out another day. All right. Um, if there's any comments in the chat, I'm not able to see it. And I'm not going to waste any more time with the technical stuff. I want to just jump right in and introduce you to my guest, Jay. And Jay is an executive professional woman of faith who is navigating life, love, and legacy with her husband. Uh, we have a lot in common from just from that, right? Professional women of faith, and being married to a former professional athlete is another place where I really, really relate to and understand not only Jay but other women that I work with. Who are in a similar space. There is some very special nuance when it comes to professional athletes in general, the way that they think, living with them and navigating life with them. And so maybe we might get into some of that in detail, maybe not. But I totally related with Jay when we first met. Jay was referred to me by a former client. And we really, really made a great initial connection. And after our talking for quite a bit, I realized that what it was that really clicked with me and Jay is that Jay is like an extreme truth teller. Jay has some truth.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
so I appreciate that about you, ma'am. And
Thank
I
you.
want us to just go ahead and have the conversation that we're here to have. Um, we're just allowing other people in on the conversation.
Okay.
So why don't you tell me what is going on since the last time we talked? How are things going?
So, since the last time that we have talked, I actually did go and file for separation. I tried the approach of being quiet. I will say, I told you I struggle with that because my voice matters a lot to me. And I can honestly say that I do struggle with not speaking up for myself or speaking up for the things that are just not right. So, even to speak to what you said about, when you said I'm very justice, I always just like to handle things the right way, but expressing myself and being able to be firm in where I stand and my discomfort and the things that I feel like occur in the marriage with my partner, it really does make me uncomfortable. And I disagree with a lot of the ways that he handles things. And it does not allow me to enter into situations where I feel like my opinion, my perspective, or how I feel about things are entirely received or respected. So, we ironically, after about 2 days of him and I going back and forth, once he realized that I was very serious and that this was not a emotionally driven decision, that it was very sound, it was very intentional, and it was something for myself, something broke with him. And he actually took a lot more accountability than he normally does. He did express that um, he has a hard time accepting some of the things that he has done, and that he expresses himself the way that he does out of disappointment and frustration for failing me, himself, and our marriage, and also our children because of the space that we have been in. And because he was married before, some of the things that he expressed that he dealt with in his previous marriage, he feels like he has been in a repeat cycle, and that he has not learned entirely how to come to terms with himself. So, him and I did have a very open and transparent conversation about that piece. I tried to steer away from things being about how I feel, and I wanted to allow him the space to properly express and convey himself without having something to respond to, because that's something that I also struggle with as well. Because in my mind, the concept of a conversation is, we exchange words. But I realize that because he normally shuts down and he normally goes silent, when he does speak, I need to give him the opportunity to speak and express himself. So, with that, he did express that he has no desires to leave. He did apologize for everything that he has done. He gave me more of a blanket apology to kind of cover everything. And because I know that he does not know how to elaborate, and he steers away from being very specific because he treads lightly in that space of the things that he has done. So for him, a safe way of kind of acknowledging what he's done, he apologized from a very, like I said, a very broad place. And it was some comfort. It was a step to initiate better communication and accountability on both of our ends. But it was a tussle initially because he he really was trying to force me to admit that I was wrong, when I'm self-aware, and I will tell every side. I don't leave anything out, because even speaking with you, if I'm going to seek help and I'm looking for guidance and support, I have to speak on what I've contributed to where we are. But for whatever reason, because he likes to deflect, and it is the gaslighting, anytime he's approached with what he's doing, he always wants to force me to, bring in the chat of what I've done. And I'm like, I'm not going to keep on going in this circle with you when I have taken accountability multiple times, and you're not going to, excuse me, manipulate the accountability that I have taken and have me repeat myself over and over and over again. But then it kind of dawned on me, maybe that's how he feels too, because we keep having this same conversation over and over again. So from there, I did just stop because I realized that the same things that he's looking for is the same things that I'm looking for, but neither one of us are backing down from how we feel to meet the other person there. So I did go into
So I love it because you started off the conversation with Shar. I know that you were recommending that I bite my tongue, that I hold my tongue, but I have to advocate for myself. And then you end your introduction into the update with we keep going through the same cycle and neither one of us will back down.
right. Yep.
So let's unpack that.
Okay.
Do you feel that the response you got is because you filed a case with the court?
I think it I think the initial um informing of him that I did, I think it humbled him. I think it kind of scared him that, you know what, maybe she not playing with me this time for real. Because everything has always been, spoken about. I've never taken the initiative to actually do it and to even bring to him that no, I really did, and to give him proof of it. Because we've played that emotional game before with divorce papers and, to get somebody to calm down or, recalibrate the situation. And it's a scare tactic. This time, it was like, whether you think this is scare tactic or not, this is what's happening. So I want you to be very clear where we are. So I would like to say maybe. I'm not sure because I'm still learning certain, even though we've been together for 18 years, I am still learning things about him because as I evolve, I realize that he is also evolving. He's just not growing, if that makes any sense.
No, I mean I get it. And so what
Mm.
I'm hearing you saying is that you want to feel like you and he are both growing as you're continuing to go through life together in marriage. That it's not one of you growing and the other one staying stagnant. That's what I'm hearing.
Right, correct.
So, what is your responsibility if he doesn't want to grow?
I mean that's on him. I'm realizing that that is on him and that's going to have more of an impact on him as an individual, and I can only introduce it, but I can't make him do anything. I have come to that realization that I can't make him do anything. And I'm even learning that more, as I incorporate the concepts and the theories that I'm learning, even in my leadership role as a professional. I can tell somebody all the right things, I can give them all the processes and procedures, but they ultimately make the decision on what they're going to do, and I can give them everything. However, whatever their decision and the body of work that they decide to commit to, that's going to be for them to deal with. Yes, I may be affected, but it his behavior and his choices has no reflection on my character. And I think I had to learn how to separate that from myself, that yes, we are one in our marriage, but his character does not speak for mine. And I think I was struggling with feeling some level of embarrassment and shame and connection to the things that he's done and his reputation and his behavior in his past. I was taking ownership of that as well as his wife.
So, I want to go back because I I feel like this is a really good opportunity to give you a preview into the future,
Hmm.
some pitfalls, potential pitfalls if your filing this case is handled there's two different ways this case can be handled, and the impact that it might have on your future. But before I do that, I want to go back to where you say you felt like he was forcing you to apologize,
Mm-hmm.
but you were forcing him to face the fact that you were willing to go and get a public court involved in the challenges you're having in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about y'all going through these same cycles, y'all needing and wanting the same things, he tried to force you. Are you not being forceful?
Yeah, I think it is. I definitely think it's definitely a form of forcing somebody. It's also some intention to maintain control and maintain my position. But I don't believe that that is the right way to do it. But when you're dealing with somebody extremely confrontational, and when you feel like, when I say it a way where I may enter the conversation very softly and then you reject it automatically, or you result to deflecting immediately, I feel like, okay, that's an indication that I already know where this is going.
This is what I want
So,
to talk about right here, what you just described. I
yeah.
want to talk about being married to a high performance competitor right here. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right here where you do it. And there are literally witnesses in the chat right now that can
Hey,
call
y'all.
that can call well, I want you to know there are witnesses in the chat that can call cap on me if I am not telling you what they've seen about
Okay.
my high performing competitive husband.
Yes.
Okay, so we got witnesses who can call cap.
Okay.
First of all, when you and I last spoke, you went into this monologue. It was a beautiful monologue. Shar, I don't want to be the man. You're
Girl, I do not. I'm not here
like,
to be the husband.
okay. So we went there during our last conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So you are married to a man. And he is not
Yes.
only a man, but he is a high performance man. Sometimes we think, oh, he used to do this, he used to do that. The mindset and the mental toughness it takes for any individual, male or female, to attain the status of professional athlete,
Mm-hmm.
it's rigid,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And when you are dealing with number one, your man, and number two, a competitor,
Mm-hmm.
because when we talk about athletes, we're talking about
Competition.
he got to come out on top.
Yes.
He's not at that moment, he's not looking at you like you his wife. He's looking
I'm like his opposition.
at you, the opposition, right? But in order to help him see that, he has to see his wife in her vulnerability. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the first things you said tonight, you was like, I have to speak up for myself. I do try to be soft spoken. It don't work. But at the same time, when you were talking about him making a broad and blanket apology about the stuff, right? Y'all got
Mm-hmm.
18 stuff.
Right.
You didn't sound satisfied with that. It's like you're competing too, is what I'm hearing. So who's going to stop competing in your marriage? Because one of y'all got to stop.
Yeah. Well, I can't say that I'm a competitor. I feel like sometimes you enter into arenas that you may not have intended to, and it could have a lot to do with the lack of me knowing what battles to fight, and knowing what I'm actually initiating or what I'm trying to get out of a particular conversation. And I think that some of the conversations and some of the arguments that we have had, because I'm in a season of doing my thing. And he is in a season of being retired. He is no longer the focal point for everybody in his life. And even me being his wife, he's not the focal point for me either. Because I'm focused on my own career. I want to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I want to be able to enjoy my journey. And the field that I work in is not competitive, but I am required to stand strong in my position. And in his world, he had to stand strong in his position as well. So, because the both of us have developed a very strong stance in who we are and our identity, because it's male versus female, we clash with that.
Do you have to have the last word?
No, I don't. I just want to make sure we have an understanding. I don't have to have the last word.
Does every conversation have to end with an understanding?
I would like for it to.
Okay, so this is why I brought up the competitive male thing, and I haven't forgotten about talking about how this case is handled
Mm-hmm.
and those paths. I haven't forgotten about that. When your husband is at that level of competition from his training, he's automatically throwing up blocks.
Mm-hmm.
It don't have anything to do about you. Like it's it's not about you for real.
Mm-hmm.
He automatic he right.
Yeah.
He's on the defense
Yes.
because this is his training reflex.
Yes.
That's why you won't always have an understanding at the end of the conversation. I cannot tell you how much I used to fight my husband on that. And then I realized, you know what? I'm going to say what I have to say. He's probably going to either one, not agree with me, or
Mm-hmm.
two, argue contrary to what I'm saying just
Yeah.
because he can throw up a block, just because of his training.
Yes. Just because he can.
Because he can.
Yeah. The
And
defense mechanisms.
because that's his training. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like if something came close to something came close to your face, the first thing you'll do,
It's block it.
right? When I learned that's what was happening, and it really wasn't about he really believes I'm wrong, or he that. So for me, it was he was rejecting me,
Mm-hmm.
and it was triggering my fear of being
Mm-hmm.
rejected. And the last person you want to be rejected by is your husband.
Right.
Zoom out and look at him objectively. This man is a trained defender. He
Mm-hmm.
is defensive. When you come at him and you tell him what you did that he didn't like, the first thing he's gonna do is he's going to block, he's going to defend.
Okay.
This is most men and women in relationships without the professional um competition.
Mm-hmm.
When you add professional competition on top of it, on top of the fact that nobody wants to be seen in the bad light, especially a man by his woman. Like
Mm-hmm.
men do not want to be perceived as weak with their woman. When you zoom out, if you are able to accept that you might not reach agreement now and you give him some space to think about what you're saying, I want to challenge you there, Jay, because you might find yourself surprised by how he comes back if the conversation doesn't end with you demanding him to understand you in the moment.
Mm-hmm. So
That's
can I share something with you too that did happen over the weekend? Um, I actually, when I addressed him and told him about the separation and that we needed to come to, an understanding of what this is going to look like in terms of the household, the kids, when he's going to leave, I said, I'm not looking for you to provide a response right now. I want to give you some time to reflect because I've already had a chance to reflect and I don't want to rush you or force you to impulsively respond. I want to give you a chance to do the same thing I have done and You can do it at your own timing, but I would like to request that if you don't have anything to give me tomorrow, that could you provide me some feedback by Friday?
You still forceful. You still aggressive. You still
Well,
exert.
I
um,
tried to give a timeline because you remember we talked about that.
No, no, ma'am. When
Well,
we talked about how unwise it is to file a divorce before the other person, or legal separation before the other person has accepted that you checked out. That's
okay.
number one. So like you moving in a real strong domination, my way or the highway spirit. Then you're gonna give him the little 24 hour if you don't have an update for me in 24 hours. You've been sitting up here planning the file papers for how long? And you're gonna give him 24 hours?
Well, how long
And then
was
and then and then you're gonna tell him, matter of fact, let me know by Friday. He don't have to do anything but go get lawyered up and handle and not talk to you at all. He don't have to do it your way.
okay?
Just because you went to the court don't mean you on top. So that's first of all, you moving in a real like it's my way or the highway spirit.
Well, and then I think that has a lot to do with being. I told you I have a complex with being in survival mode because now I know that I got to shift something and it involves me and my kids and my stability and my schedule and my job and everything. Now I'm like, I instantly have to go into survival mode and I don't really have the time to wait for him really. So 24 to 48 hours is about all I need, is all I got for you to figure out what you're going to do so I can progress in whatever space I need
No,
to figure
ma'am.
out what I need to
No,
do.
ma'am. No, ma'am. You are manufacturing survival mode because that's what you're familiar with. You are manufacturing it.
I don't disagree.
I was, I'll give you a perfect example. I was recently having a conversation with someone about how my first several years of legal practice was in a legal emergency room.
Hmm.
So my training is recognizing and responding to triage,
Emergency. Yeah.
right? Who about to die?
Hmm.
Who's about to lose a limb? And who just needs some pain reliever until we could get around to them?
Okay.
What you have been communicating to me, you feel like you about to die. And you might feel like you're about to lose a limb. But this is not a legal emergency. You are
Hmm.
manufacturing the circumstances that put you in survival mode because survival mode is where you feel strong. Why am I saying that? Because that's what I was doing when I was cranking up drama in my marriage every Friday. And my mom started noticing the pattern. She lived with us for a few years. She was like, it seemed like every Friday it be going off up in here. And the reason why was because in my mind, I was like, I'm not gonna have any work to distract me from how miserable I am.
Hmm.
I'm gonna start something with him. I didn't realize I was I didn't realize that was my thought process. But I needed that high level of emotional intensity to feel alive. And
Hmm.
I was manufacturing it. You went and filed papers. Then you came and brought it to him. Again, creating the circumstances that's now creating a deadline on him. And you're not manufacturing your survival mode?
Well, I think that also comes from, kind of like the input. So, like, for instance, my mom. People will insert themselves and say something. So, like, I'll be like, because he's called my mom or I've talked to my mom, but he really reaches out to my mom more in certain circumstances. And I think that hearing my family tell me, like, you need to just let this go. Y'all are not working. You need to just focus on your kids and you need to just get out of this. This is not going to work before you lose everything or before something happens. I can be honest to say those things freak me out because I don't want everything in my marriage to crumble, and it escalates to my stability and my well-being, which covers my children and myself.
So you just highlighted rule number one when it comes to the laws of love. Do you know what rule number one is?
I'm assuming it's don't tell nobody nothing.
No, no. I think people should have confidence, people that you can trust, that have some sense to speak according to your destiny and not according to your feelings in the moment.
Hmm.
Somebody who's going to check your emotions so that you're not making long-term decisions based on temporary feelings.
Hmm.
So I do think that you should have trusted advisors with some wisdom.
Hmm.
But the people that's causing you to feel afraid are driving you into violating the first rule of love, the first law of love, and that is thou shalt not fear.
Hmm.
How can I back that up with scripture? You probably already know which scripture backs that up.
I get it. I get it.
Love is the opposing force to fear.
Hmm.
Fear is the opposite of love. So you mean to tell me you're going to follow the advice of people that's counseling you opposite of love?
Yeah.
Because because you agree with fear. When perfect love casts out fear.
Okay. So the part of that is not feeling loved. So then if I'm only feeling fear and I don't feel love, then the only feeling that feels more relatable and suitable for where I am in the marriage is fear if I'm not feeling any love. So I'm not choosing fear on purpose. It feels like it's a more of a default emotion to feel. And it does, because I am in fear that if I don't move a particular way, that I'm going to lose myself in this, because the love ain't enough, obviously, because the love is what kept me here, and I have not received what I've needed out of the love I've given, and I'm still waiting to be loved. And I'm constantly being presented with fear because he uses fear tactics on me as well by threatening to leave and saying, well, if you're going to be okay with the kids by yourself, then I can go ahead and leave. Or he'll leave knowing that I have a big meeting or a presentation tomorrow morning. So we get into an argument and he decides to walk out knowing it's going to instantly send me into a state of fear and concern that, okay, well, how the kids going to get to school tomorrow? I got to be to work earlier than I normally have to be because I have to do this, I have to do that. So it's almost like I'm only seeing fear. I'm not seeing any love. So when all that you're presented with is that's all I know. And I told you that growing up and some of the unfortunate things I have had to endure with some of my past traumas, I had to sit in fear and learn how to survive in fear. So as an adult, it really is hard navigating being in fear and finding a path out of it. And I only find a path out of fear when I'm embraced or met with love, because that is safety. That is, some level of safety, and which is why it has been a back and forth thing, because, he'll come back with, I didn't mean that, I'm sorry, I love it, I'm not finna go nowhere, with this affirming expression, but it still lacks the presence of love. It still feels very manipulative and very like a tactic to just soothe everything over. But again, there's still a level of fear that's still present because he's not resolving that. And I don't know how to entirely resolve it, because I can be honest to say I have dealt with more fear in my life than I have with love. I give more love than I receive. And I'm
So,
quite frankly tired of being on the giving side of it.
so I hear you saying that you're exhausted of giving what you define as love and not receiving what you define as love. But at the same time, you're also saying that you depend on him for you to make the choice to overcome fear with love. You're putting all of the power back in his hands. That you cannot choose love because he don't make you feel love. That you have to remain in fear because of something he is or is not doing. You are tethering yourself and your right to make choices to how he's showing up. That's victim. You're
Yeah.
making him the villain. And here's the other thing that I'm hearing, just based on the words that you use to describe things that he said, I'm hearing that he's feeling afraid and he's not feeling loved by you. Now you might say, Shar, he doesn't have a reason to feel that way.
No, no, no. I'm gonna agree with you because yeah, no, I'm not giving nothing. Not when I'm not receiving, because I, again, when I was giving it, I felt like it was being wasted, it was being played with. So I've learned how to stop giving because I'm like, yeah, no, this is not going to be one sided. And I have not mastered or learned or really even been introduced to still loving during the complications of the marriage and the challenges of dealing with people in general. Because
So
for me, I'm used to just cutting people off and going on about my business. Once you show me that's who you are, okay. I don't even have to be in fear. I can just disconnect.
um fear of abandonment usually shows up as me leaving you before you leave me.
And him and I fight. We tussle with that real bad because we both got abandonment issues.
So I'm gonna leave you before you can leave me. I'm gonna get you before you can get me. I'm not gonna get God. I'm more afraid of looking stupid than I am of riding this thing out.
Yep,
That's fear.
that's 100%.
So when did love become an emotion?
Whew. I don't I think it was I think it was based on how I was introduced. I think it's how I perceive things. And I think it's based off of what I thought love was. And it does feel like it's more of an emotion than an act.
But word on the street was that there was no greater love than a man lay down his life for his friend.
Okay.
That is evidence that love has nothing to do with your feelings. Love has more to deal with your resolve and your decision to allow the hardship of the relationship to process you into the image of your father, the image of love. The father is called the spirit of truth. And in order for me to look like his child, then the way that I move in life in response to your, let's say it's hatred, because I promise you, for a good 6 years, I hated my husband. But I would have never admitted that out my mouth. But that's how deeply I hurt because he wasn't doing the things. And then we all have a list. We have a list of things that we've asked for, we've been expecting, that communicate to us that we're valued and loved, and all of those things. And when that performance
Mm-hmm.
is not happening, then we sit back and we judge, you don't love me, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not feeling loved right now. But find me some type of evidence from the Bible that you say that you believe in that establishes the foundation of love as your feelings.
It's not there.
There is no greater love than a man lay down his life for his friend. We do it for our kids.
Yeah.
Let you see your baby in harm's way, crossing the street, done ran away from you, about to run into traffic. You will turn into a whole superwoman, lift up a
Mhm.
car, and risk your life for that baby.
Yep.
We'll put our life on the line for these kids. But for some reason, when it comes to these babies, these men, who we have a hard time seeing them in their brokenness, we rather throw them away than to lay down our feelings so that he can have peace that allows him to heal. So where am I coming from? When I asked you what was the opposite of love, the opposite of love is fear. Well, what is the opposite of peace?
Chaos.
Chaos, strife, conflict,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
When you are in conflict with yourself, do I leave? Do I go? Do I leave? Do I go? Do I leave? Do I go?
Oh yeah,
You
it's gonna be total
you're
conflict.
you're bringing that conflict into your house. Like it's like the Tasmanian devil.
Mhm.
And when that spirit is present in the house, there is no peace for that man. And where there is no peace for that man, he is hyper vigilant and he is on the defense. He is on the edge. He can't lay his head down and have no peace in his house
Mhm.
because his woman is not at peace with herself. When you are at peace with yourself, Miss J, it don't matter what he got going on. He could be acting a whole fool. Peace is a thermostat of the spirit. When you love telling you the truth. When I'm telling myself the truth
Mhm.
constantly and I'm living in the truth and I'm living aligned with the truth, who I am and the creator that I believe in, when I think, speak, and I walk and talk the same thing, all of it's aligned, peace abides with me. You still haven't resolved whether or not you want out. I'm hearing you like, well, if he step up his apology game and if he learn how to communicate with me better, then maybe this might work. Now here's where what I was putting on the shelf that I want to bring up. One of the things you have been concerned about with your husband is that he's a performer.
Oh, I
He's
know he a performer.
a performer, right?
Mhm. And it's all an act.
So when you hit a performer with some papers that communicate to him, hey, things are this bad, and if you don't change, I'm gone. What can we expect his behavior is going to be?
He gonna get on stage.
He's going to get on stage until when?
He can close the curtains and I lay down and take away whatever he confirms this is no longer a threat. When he confirms he's not worried about me doing anything anymore.
And what would be your response when he has a picture perfect performance with this case that you've already filed?
I hadn't thought that. I'm trying to just take it one day at a time because I really do not. I'm not trying to antagonize anything. Not anymore, anyway. I'm really just trying to take it one day at a time because I really don't know what to expect or what to do.
Jay, he's going to put on a performance. You're going to reconsider what you've done, which was not wise. And when you do that, you lost all the leverage you had by going to the court. Because the next time you get mad, because he gonna mess up and he gonna piss you off and he not gonna make you feel loved, you gonna go running and filling out the same raggedy set of papers, paying more court fees, and trying to get the same exact response, and it's gonna be weaker. It's like, you know how they say when you take certain drugs, that first high you can never get it back again.
Mm-hmm.
You lose your leverage. When you're at the point where you're ready to file some papers, you need to be committed to the course. It's more respectful for you to go ahead and follow it all the way through than to reconsider and dismiss the case because he's performing.
Well, I haven't done anything. I'm just taking it one day at a time. I haven't reconsidered anything. It just,
He's
I filed. It
performing.
ain't nothing else to talk about.
Ma'am, the flowers about to start coming. All the things that you've been complaining about that were going on deaf ears, he about to start paying closer attention. He gonna start making time to do the things that he knows he used to do that he stopped doing. He don't want to go anywhere. And most of the time, 90% of the time that I've been involved in family law situations, wife has filed the divorce. That man do not want no divorce. That man do not want separation. That man want his woman. He don't know how to show her his appreciation. He don't know how to communicate to her that he doesn't want to live without her. But that man wants his woman. 90% of the time, I'm in family law conflict where the wife has initiated a legal proceeding. That man does not want it. He want you.
But that's why I asked. If he not gonna leave, I can't put him out. Then what do I do? I ain't folding. But if he ain't gonna leave, I'm not picking up and leaving with my kids out of my house
And he needs to leave
because I don't want to look like I'm folding and I'm double backing on what I initiated.
you're not
Like,
competitive.
say what? You
You
think I'm
don't pick,
competitive?
you don't picked up on his ways. Yes, you are competing with him. And do you know what happened to women who compete with men, especially high performing men? We age fast. We wear out. We get tired. We be looking to file for Social Security by the time we 52. They are built to endure, honey. You need his strength. You competing with the one with the strength. He could outlast you in this game. You ever notice these brothers be old and still look strong?
Mm-hmm.
But a woman the same age be looking kind of haggard because she done set
Real.
up here fighting a man for the past 30 years.
What is the solution? If I did at least did the separation, because I know we talked before and it was, don't go straight for the juggler with just moving into the divorce. And I did the filing. I left it where it was. I initiated it. I stated what needed to be stated. We had the conversation. I heard him. I acknowledged that I heard him, but I did not initiate any backtracking. I just told him that I'm going to continue to move forward in the direction. I acknowledged his awareness and his accountability. And I've just been taking it one day at a time. That's why when I ask, well, can I put him out? Can I make him leave? If he don't want to leave and he just saying that he gonna stay, I don't have to be his audience with the performance. I don't have to sit there and engage with the performances. I just stay in my quarters and let him be in his. I'm trying to just keep my distance.
What is your goal?
I want to just move forward with the divorce, but I don't want it to be nasty and messy, and I don't want to leave in discord and dysfunction, and I do want to leave in some kind of peace. I don't particularly think that that's going to be 100% possible, but I also don't understand why it can't be.
Because you trying to write the play. You trying to lead a man who's a
So should
competitor.
he be should he be the one filing then?
No, he's trying to lead according to the vows. Has he messed up on that? Has he been perfect to that? Has he had a flawless stint as your husband? No. But he's actually leading by refusing to leave. He married
But if
you.
but if it's a performance, then it's not real. So then what am I sitting here for?
And so now, how does he get to judge you? Does he get to hold up the little cards with like the number, like like did you get a 7 on your performance? Did you?
I'm not performing. You think
You're
I'm
not. You're
performing?
not. You're not performing. So therefore, he has no right to judge you whether or not you're a performer. But since he's a performer, you have a right to judge him for
I
his
mean,
performance.
this is his act, not mine.
It's his act and not yours. But you haven't figured out how to take off your boss chick hat when you come home, so he feels like you're his wife and not another dude. But you say you don't want to be the dude. But he can't judge you for that. He can't judge you for that dude energy that you were bringing to the house all this time. Because you used to telling everybody else what to do at work. And now you filed the papers and you telling him what to do. You telling him he need to leave. You still bossing him around and you expecting him to respond respectfully. And he's a man.
So
You
I'm supposed to bow. So do
you
I. Now, I'm not about to bow down.
ma'am, all I can tell you is this. Whenever people file legal proceedings in family law before the other side has come around to the same conclusion, you are setting yourself up for in-house hostility, increased aggression, possibly an act of violence, and tearing them kids up and traumatizing them.
So what is the solution?
The solution is managing and disciplining your emotions and only making decisions according to truth and being spirit led. Counsel that is led by the spirit, not by your feelings, not by my feelings.
Okay.
But you've already shot your shot. And now, because you have the upper hand, you're going to continue to apply the pressure to tell him to leave, 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 leave until either he just leaves with his tail between his legs and you totally lose respect for him. Or what a competitive man is likely to do is show you that you're not controlling anything and give you hell until he's tired of playing that game.
Okay.
That's how this ends.
So those are my only two choices.
You filed the paperwork, ma'am.
Okay.
You filed the paperwork. You want it your way. You're going to do everything you can to have it your way. He's either going to frustrate your way until the case runs its course. But any family lawyer will tell you that when the initial case begins with that energy, what you will find 9 times out of 10 is a family that is in and out of the courts because somebody trying to make somebody else do what they want them to do. And it will never end until those kids are grown. And it is the saddest thing I have ever seen in my life. And
So,
that is what you are playing with right now.
but even with me filing, if that's it for me, and that's the direction that we're going in, really, what does it matter what he does? Because if it's over, it's over. We have to move forward in that process. People get divorced all the time.
Are you hoping and praying that your children graduate high school?
Yes.
What's going to be mom and dad's demeanor towards one another at high school graduation? Are you hoping and praying that your kids get married one day?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be mom and dad's demeanor towards one another at the wedding?
Well,
What happens when you and he are sharing the same grandkids? What kind of ignorance and how many generations is this going to go into if you end up with a nasty initial court proceeding because it wasn't timed properly or thought through? That's what if I can get anything across, especially the women, because we move emotionally. You have to move according to your co-parenting relationship if you give one damn about these kids. These kids. I'm choosing that you're going to be the product of a divorced family. Okay, cool. People get divorced all the time. That means y'all just gonna have to suck it up. Kids are resilient.
Mm-hmm.
So set your kids up to have to struggle with whatever future situation they got going on. And when it's hostile at the first case level, because you got to be in control. You're going to make him do what you want him to do. I'm not going to back down. If he matches that energy, y'all tearing these kids up.
So do I need to divorce in love?
I'm
Out
not
of
even
love?
I'm not even responding to that because you're trying me right now.
Yes, I'm really trying to understand what is the alternative.
What are
Because
you gaining by expediting a divorce? What is the practical benefit when you haven't even figured out how y'all gonna co-parent? If
that's
what you want for your kids is a separated family with healthy co-parenting relationship, then what are you gaining by filing the case now?
the separation. I didn't do the
And he's
actual
still in the
divorce.
house. And he's still in the house. And you
But
can't
because,
make him leave.
right. So again, that's why my question is, so what is the solution?
The solution, ma'am, was for you to work out a co-parenting arrangement before you did anything bringing the court inside of this.
Okay.
Figure out how y'all gonna navigate the logistics of these kids as between you and him. Communicate to him. I'm done with you. I've checked out of this marriage. I don't want you anymore, but we still got to raise these kids. Let's call this the Our Kids Corporation. And you're going to be the CEO, and I'm going to be the vice president. And we're going to work this out when it comes to these kids. Let's figure out what that looks like. Because when
Okay.
parents do a good job doing that first, and you still resolute on wanting your divorce, then the kids are not tore up by the sausage grinder of the court system.
I understand that. Now I'm understanding because it was given. I don't know why I was feeling like it was given work this out. So I just wanted to make sure that wasn't what we was talking about.
That's why I
I
asked you what do you want. I'm counseling according to your desires,
okay.
according to your goals. Because this ain't my marriage. I don't have to live with him, and I don't have to be in neither one of y'all face. But I tell you who I do advocate for. I advocate for children who are collateral damage of emotionally driven litigation that does not take their future into consideration with thorough consideration according to what they need as adults.
Okay.
I've seen
And I
too many
received that.
people tear their kids up because of how they feel, because they don't feel love. And they bring that same energy into the court. And guess what that judge not gonna do? That judge not gonna make him be a loving person. That judge not gonna make him behave himself. That judge not gonna make him get a job. That judge not gonna make him do anything you want him to do. That judge will order him to pay some child support. He might foot drag, never pay it, and then you might want to go and have him be accountable again, in and out of court. In and out of court. Did I ever tell you about my first divorce, contested divorce?
You mentioned that you did, but
I'll probably save that for another conversation. I didn't realize it was already after 9.
okay.
Let me take a quick moment to just look at the chat real quick.
Y'all don't chew me up out there now.
Um, we have a sister that's saying that she had to threaten her parents when they divorced to be on their best behavior during her wedding because it was some ignorance during the
Mhm.
divorce. Like, who wants that?
And
Matter of fact,
I will say,
let me give you a perfect example. Perfect example. So, as you know, and as most people who track with me know, I no longer practice divorce. My divorce
mhm.
practice was wound up July of 2024.
Or
I bent the knee to the father. I said, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna do divorces anymore. But a family who I did a divorce for, according to the principles that I teach, I work with the husband and the wife. These people 2 years later mentioned to their daughter who was getting married that I was able to do their wedding, her wedding. And as a part of the divorce, I had worked with not only the husband and the wife, but I met with their children and
Mhm.
supported their children through that. So it was just a different kind of divorce. And it's not something that you typically find in the marketplace.
Mhm.
But it was my contribution to what I know is tore up and raggedy about the system. I did this young lady's wedding a few weeks ago, and both of her parents were there. Both of them, it was just, we're still family. We still love each other. Hey, we've adopted Shar. Like, it was a different energy. And it wasn't the experience like what the sister just said, threatening her parents not to act a fool at her wedding.
Mhm.
Why? Because it was thought out, it was conscientious, and it was not litigation. The court is not how you fix your feelings. It's not. And any lawyer who does not tell you that directly is taking your money. I'm just saying, lawyers get paid big bucks in litigation to drive your emotions and continue sending you invoices. The
Okay.
court will not fix the communication problems. So if you think you having communication problems now with whether or not he gonna pick up the kids or whether or not he can keep the kids while you do some travel, if you think you have communication problems now, they will be intensified by poorly timed litigation or aggressive litigation. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Um, Miss J, I appreciate you for this time. It seemed like it went by like super fast. Um, and remain clear on what your goal is. You shot your shot. You made it clear tonight. You don't want to be married anymore. And in your communication with your husband, what I want to challenge you to do is to make sure that you are consistently communicating that to him, that you're done and that you're going
Okay.
to stay the course. If that is what your goal is, because what will happen if you reconsider what you're saying now because you're feeling differently later, then you will have never resolved the conflict that's driving this need to get the court involved. Like that conflict, that fear, that whatever that is unresolved.
Mhm.
If you try to reconcile later, you need to first come back and resolve this that drove you to go and file this separation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Any other final words or comments you have? You want to cuss?
Um,
Everybody. I get on everybody now.
no, no, I received this. This was good because one thing I have been reflecting on is how to, and I say even after, it could be moving backwards, but I would like to. I receive everything you say, and I would like to try to figure out a way to, I guess, soften the environment even after informing him of the initiation of the separation. I don't know if us building a friendship in the midst of this or trying to, I guess, backtrack because I did do things out of order, but kind of trying to figure out how to reestablish or reorder things so it can go in a more positive direction. So now that I'm clear on what you were suggesting, I do receive that I did move out of order because I wasn't exactly clear on what I should do.
I understand. I think you need to just stand down right now.
Okay.
Give him time and space to process what just happened and give him time and space to exert leadership because it's in him.
Okay.
It's in him. And that's what you were wanting the whole time anyway, for real. But you don't want him no more. So go and let him be somebody. You go let him go lead another family, right? But stand down because
Hmm.
he needs processing time. He doesn't need to be bullied by his soon to be ex-wife because that's what drives the hostility. That's what makes things worse. That's what makes him say, "You and me, we can never be friends." That's what creates that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm coming from a place where I would tell you, My oldest son is 32 years old this year. His father and I were such co-parents, and we were kids when we had him. We were such co-parents that when it came to all of the special events, all of the things, it'd be me, my husband, his daddy, his new wife, and the daddy ex-wife. I'm like, what our interaction was about our son.
Uh-huh.
And when there was drama between his dad and his dad's ex-wife concerning the child, I remember, I'll never forget, my son was maybe like 23 years old, and he was like, Mom, I don't get it. Why would she treat my dad this way? Or why is this going on over my sister? And I said, oh, baby, I'm so sorry. The way your dad and I, how we work things out for you, this is the exception, not the rule. When people break up,
Yeah.
when people are not together anymore. My son had a whole extended family type of situation and nothing but love because his father and I refused to have beef and drama around him raising him. And that I feel like, and I feel very strongly, if two kids could figure out how to raise their kid like that, I have no excuse that I can offer to any fully grown adult
Right.
who's saying, okay, this didn't work out. I'm ready to cut my losses. When it comes to these kids are our business. We are business partners. And when it comes to them, they'll need to know we beefing or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So standing down, stepping back, nothing's going to happen to that case anytime soon. That case is just going to sit there. The judge is not even reading your paperwork.
Right.
Sit back, and there's nothing to say to him unless you get a notice from the court that tells you you need to take some action and you have a deadline.
Okay.
And processing time. He needs to contact a lawyer. He needs to talk to his friends. He needs to figure out what his rights are. He needs to make a decision if he wants to take this nuclear or not. And you need to wait for that feedback.
Okay.
That's my recommendation. I hope that will allow processing time for him and you to kind of like, for him to at least accept where you are.
Right.
And that the children do not end up on a chopping block as a result. So that's my recommendation for now. And, go love on yourself. Continue to do the things. I mean, you've been doing a lot of work on you.
Yeah.
I want to strongly encourage you to really start dealing with fear and what fears have been keeping you from living for real.
Yes.
So I appreciate you, Miss J.
Yes. Thank you for this. This was very informative, and I
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
You're welcome. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you backstage for just a minute and say some final remarks. Family, thank you for joining me for this like different type of setup. Y'all know how much I love and appreciate you. And I look forward to connecting with y'all really, really soon here on the Judge Shar channel, where we focus on conflict resolution, helping people to understand that the court system is not the only path to justice, that we can work these things out in the living room. We can work these things out at the dinner table. We can figure this out, if for nothing else, for the sake of the next generation. So with that, y'all, please like, share, subscribe, tag folk, all the stuff, all the things, and be blessed and encouraged.